What's up, y'all? Welcome back to my channel. In this video I'm going to be breaking down the numbers on how much money I could make if I were to choose to sell this house, which is a house I just built, in 60 days. Let's get started. So if you're new to my channel, here's the inside of the house. This is basically like an open concept design. We have the living room right here, probably a TV on that wall. Then there's the kitchen, some European cabinets, granite or quartz countertops, dining room in that area, laundry around that corner, and then upstairs is most of the bedrooms and bathrooms. So not going to give it a home tour because I've already put that video on my channel. If you want to see a tour of this house, then you should go check out that video. Now let's get into the numbers. So as I explained in my last video, I built this house using my own personal resources, which was a combination of cash and 2 credit cards and a credit account that I have with a local material supplier. So that means I did not get a construction loan and partner with any kind of lender or bank to get a loan on this home build. So my plan from the beginning was use my own personal resources to build this house, as I just explained, and then once the build is complete, I was going to then call a lender to get a cash out refinance mortgage on the finished house. And essentially that process would go like, they would send out an appraiser to determine the fair market value of the house, and then they would give me 75% of the newly built house's appraised value as a cash out loan. Essentially they would give me 75% of that value in cash, which they would wire that money into my bank account, and that would become my new loan amount for the 30-year mortgage. So one of the first steps that the bank takes during the approval process on a cash out refinance mortgage, or any other mortgage for that matter, is they order an appraisal on the house. And if you don't know what an appraisal is, essentially an appraisal is a report put together by an appraiser to determine the fair market value of the house. Essentially, an appraiser comes out to the property for about an hour, and he considers several factors of the physical property, like the size of the lot, the size of the house, the size of the garage, what level finishes does the house have, as well as what kind of material was used in building the house. You know, does it have a shingle roof or a metal roof? Does it have laminate cheap flooring, or does it have nice tile flooring? Does it have plastic bathtub and shower inserts, or does it have a nice bathtub with tile surrounding? So they consider all of those factors of the property, as well as they consider sales data from comparable houses that have sold recently in this area. And they use those 2 main items to determine the fair market value of the house. And whenever they ordered my appraisal, it came back to be valued worth $430,000. So to be completely honest with you, I can't really seem to understand what caused this house to appraise for such a high amount. I guess $80,000 more than I originally anticipated it to be valued at. But I know throughout the build I did do several upgrades, which is going to help increase the value of the house. I didn't think it would increase it that much, but some of those upgrades are like aluminum windows instead of vinyl windows, and that's about a $500 upgrade value. I did tile flooring instead of a cheaper flooring material like vinyl or laminate, and that is probably about a $6,000 or $7,000 or maybe even $8,000 upgraded cost value. I did a nice steel and glass high quality premium front door instead of maybe a smaller fiberglass cheap front door, and that's probably about a $2,000 upgraded value there. And then of course the main upgrade on the home build I would say would be the standing seam metal roof, which cost me $14,000. I probably could have put a shingle roof on this house for maybe $6,000, $7,000. So that's probably about a $9,000 upgraded value there. So maybe just all the upgrades I did on this home build are really what helped this house appraise for much more than I anticipated it to be appraised for. I built the neighboring house, which was my first home build. I built that and kept that as a rental property. And that house is a very comparable house to the one I just built. That house is 1,555 square feet, a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom house, a very similar style. And that one appraised for $305,000. Which comes out to about $196 per square foot. And then the house I just built, which is a 3-bedroom, 2.5-bathroom, 1,888 square feet, and it appraised for $430,000, which is $227 a square foot. So very comparable houses. Maybe I just caught an appraiser on a bad day with the first home build, since they appraised it so low, and caught an appraiser on a really good day with this home build that appraised it for so much. I do know one factor for sure that caused this house to appraise for more than I anticipated is the square footage. On the building plans throughout the design, the building plans were designed to have this house be 1,768 square feet. But when the appraiser appraised the house and he went through and hand measured everything himself, he came up with 1,888 square feet. So that's an additional 120 square feet that was found in the house. And if you multiply that by $227 a square foot, that's an additional $27,000 added on to the value. So I know that definitely played a role in increasing the value of the house. And you're probably wondering, how is the house that much more square footage if on the building plans it was less? I think maybe under the stairs is something that we left open. That's some square footage that maybe wasn't accounted for on the plans, as well as the framer made a mistake. There was supposed to be an open area right above the front door, but instead he framed it for like a little loft. So that's an accident, but it added extra square footage and ended up making me some money. And even on my first build, it was designed for only like 1,450 square feet, and it came out to be 1,555 square feet. But I know that this is one factor that for sure played a role in increasing the value of the house. But anyways, now that I know the house is worth $430,000, let's do a breakdown to find out exactly how much money I would make if I choose to sell this house. So projectively speaking, here's how much money I could make if I decided to sell the house. So I know the appraised value of the house is $430,000, so that's the number I'm going to use as the sales price. Next, I have to subtract out all of the closing costs because, believe it or not, it costs money to sell a house. So first, I would subtract 3% of the sales price for my real estate agent to list the house for sale and represent me throughout the transaction. Next, I have to pay the buyer's real estate agent 3% of the sales price, which is equal to $13,000, and that's for the buyer's real estate agent to represent them throughout the sale. And then next, I have to pay 1% to a title company for all the title work. That's equal to about $4,000. All the closing costs added up together equals $30,000. So $430,000 minus $30,000 of closing costs, I come up with $400,000. Now I can subtract my total project cost of $264,000, and that leaves me with $136,000 of pre-tax profit. Next, I have to take out what's called short-term capital gains tax, and this is a governmental tax at a rate of 32%. So $136,000 times 32% equals $43,000 in taxes I would pay on the profit of this sale, and that leaves me with a final net profit of $93,000. So that means if I sold this house, I could potentially profit around $93,000. So after looking at all the numbers and figuring out I could make close to $100,000 on the sale of this project, it kind of has me thinking, maybe I should start a home building business and continue to build house after house and sell those, and that's how I could make profit. And I get so many comments in my comment section on social media of people saying, oh, sell it and build 5 more, sell it and build 10 more. But I don't think people really understand the amount of time and effort that goes into a home build project. First, you have to find the land, and then you have to close on the land, and that itself can take 45 days. And then my responsibilities as a builder are to design the build, budget for the build, hire all the contractors, get the build approved where it needs to get approved from, and then get the build permitted. That might take another 30 to 45 days. And then the actual build itself could take anywhere from 60 to 90 days. And then if I'm going to sell the house, I have to list it for sale and wait for someone to buy it. And that itself might take another 30 to 45 or 60 days. So in the end, the average project would probably be around 6 months. And to me, I just don't feel like a project this big with this much risk is worth building it to sell it and only make $100,000. If I'm going to go through everything it takes to purchase a piece of raw land, develop that piece of land, and then build a house on that piece of land, in the end, I'm going to choose to keep it as a rental property probably every single time, because I have a very high goal of achieving a 8-figure net worth, which is $10 million plus. And in order to do that, I believe I'm going to have to invest in appreciating assets. My favorite is long-term rental properties located in prime locations. So my next video is going to be a detailed breakdown of the projected investment numbers on this house right here, which I'm electing to keep as my second rental property. So make sure to hit the subscribe button below so you don't miss out on that video. See you next time.